Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here one more time. It seems that every time I go someplace or do something different, the Spirit hits me and gives me a message that's essential for you and myself and for the human race. I want to speak to you about something that I believe would be easier for you to understand as a message of purpose. And I like to call it Animals Are People Too. All right, don't get carried away. Let me explain to you what I mean. What I really mean about that is this: people are animals, and they have the same basic characteristics as all other animals. They have one thing that ties us all together, and that is life. Now, wherever life exists, whether it's in an ape, a gorilla, might be known as an ape, a fish, an ant, a dog, or a human. It wants to survive. Survival is its number one objective. And it learns quite simple and easy what those requirements are. All animals, that includes us, require food. All animals, including us, require shelter. All animals, including us, require a form of progression as far as our understanding about things, which we call education. All animals need to have access to something that gives them health care. And in order for these things to be met by all animals, it requires that unless they are helpless and somebody doing it for them, they must engage themselves in the process. Now, many animals have already learned that it is easier to achieve certain ends when they work together as a group, as they try, rather than trying to do it individually. You've watched the insects, you've watched ants. You see how the ants work constantly working, constantly doing. Everybody got a role to play. And in that process, they're able to acquire and achieve the things that they set out at. Same thing with the birds and the bees. Everybody got something to do. And it's the same thing with we humans. Now, I think the message that is so pertinent here is that by us who claiming to be the highest, most intelligent animals on the face of the earth, could learn from those who are lesser intelligent, as we suggest. For instance, let's take a dog. A dog can teach human beings a lot. Or, and when I say teach them a lot, not necessarily by talking to them or speaking to them, but by just observing the conduct of a dog. Now, let's think about a dog that is loved as a pet, domesticated. You see some dogs, they're treated so nice. The owners take these dogs everywhere they go. They put them all on their shoulders. They put them in little pouches around their belly. They put them on a leash and they take them walking, they take them out running, they allow them to run around in their houses and jump out on their couches and do all kinds of things. And these dogs basically feel as though they are really not dogs, but humans. And if they're going to consider themselves dogs, they consider themselves a lesser dog. Now, let's take that same dog, and let's say you don't treat that dog that kind of way. You don't ever want to take the dog walking. You don't want to groom the dog. You watch the dog, but you don't hear the dog. You see the dog, but you don't really see the dog. And the dog is watching everything that you do. And the dog is being drained. Now, what is that dog feeling? That dog is feeling the same thing that human beings feel when they have been neglected. They feel that everything is a hellhole, and they would love to be out of that situation, especially when they can equate where they're at with something that they wish they were at. And so, watching that dog, and let's say you take that dog and you don't basically do anything for that dog. You leave that dog outside all the time. You put him in a kennel so he won't go any place, won't bother anybody. That dog feels like a prisoner. In fact, that dog is a prisoner. And if you want to know how that dog really feels, think about you being locked up in a cage somewhere and can't do anything that you want to do. That's how that dog feels. But let's see how we can learn from that. There are people who love animals, and they treat animals like they love them. But at the same time, there are people who don't love animals. They really just don't love animals. And so they don't respond to the animal the way a loving person responds to an animal. So when you look at that, you're basically looking at human beings who treat one another the same way that people who don't love dogs, don't understand dogs, don't care about dogs do. When you see minorities in a society, and you know what call them minorities, it's hard to find a job, they're receiving minimum wage or low payment, or some of them receiving welfare subsistence, they're put on the other side of town, living across the railroad track, living in the ghetto. That's that animal, that human animal that people don't care about. Now, why don't these people who are in a position to support in a different kind of way those people across the railroad track, why don't they understand that? They don't understand that because they've been denied the blessings of the education of such as that. You take a person who don't love dogs, let him get exposed to the taking care of the caring of a dog and watching the dog, observing the dog matters. In a point of time, you will find that person changing. That person will start seeing and hearing everything that that dog is saying. And when they do, the dog will understand that they do by the way they treat the dog. And the dog, as it's being treated different, becomes more humanly, if you know what I mean. While he was castigated and withdrawn, now that dog is coming around looking for you at all times. Say, hey, here I am, what can we do together? So, when I say that animals are people too, I'm saying also that people are animals too. They all need the same things for survival, whether it's food, shelter, clothing, education, health care, and a career, or whether it's compassion, whether it's caring, hands-on touching. Humans need that. All of humans need that. And all of animals need that. Even snakes, same way. Tigers in the woods, or wherever they live at, they need that. Some say, well, some animals are vicious. That's because they haven't learned. Somebody says they haven't been domesticated. Snakes haven't been domesticated. Tiger haven't been, panther haven't been domesticated. But given the type of treatment, we'll domesticate them. And having been domesticated, they will be just like you. And somebody might say, well, there are people who domesticate animals and they turn on them. Well, so do humans. Humans turn on humans. And they're supposed to be domesticated. I have one other thing I'd like to say to you about the animal that would probably bring out the point that I really have been trying to make here. And that thing is this. Why are we like this? Why are animals people and people animals? Does that mean that the grass is the same? And the truth of the matter of it is, yes. But each of us, the human animal and the animal human, they all require and they have certain purposes for existence. They have, this is where the difference lies. They got certain purposes for existence. The mouse got a purpose for existence. And though get on your nerves if they're in your house, they still want to live. And you might say, well, not here. Well, you better come up with some rings to get them out, because when they get you coming at them, they're gone. A roach, the same thing. A spider, a wasp, a bee, the same identical thing. All got purposes in existence. They're not to look at the computer or watch the telephone or make these kinds of calls. That's a different kind of animal's job. But doing the things that other animals do, what you see them doing, what the scientists have followed them and brought out and explained to us that they do, this is their purpose. And that is their God-given purpose. And while it might interfere with what we think is our purpose sometimes, they still have purpose. And it is not our business to be killing. I say to all of us, if there's any killing to be done, let God do the killing. But now if some danger come upon you and you ain't got time to wait on God, I think you'll be excused by taking care of business. I hope I gave you something out of that. It was something that I just wanted to share because I was walking my dog today, and it's been a week or so that I've been doing this, and I noticed the dog has been acting kind of strange. And so when he saw that leash in my hand today, he acted like well, it's a sheep. She acted like a brand new dog. And all of the things that we did when we went walking, how she was running and being adventurous, looking in the grass, going under those poles, trying to discover this and this smell and what it's all about. It was brand new again for her. And that's the same way it is for each of us. Now, I noticed, and I don't know if this has anything to do with the subject, that here in my neighborhood, there are a lot of people putting flags out in their yard. And I know Memorial Day has passed. So the thought come to me, why are these people putting out these flags in their yard? And the answer came to me is that these are people who are saying, and they're speaking to one another and to those who can understand the language, that these are proud Americans. And they're making this statement because of what Donald Trump has done. So they're saying, we don't care what you think or what you think. This is our statement to Donald Trump. We are proud Americans, and what he is pursuing is exactly what we want. And now you know what I've already told through the message of victory for the Democrats and humanity. If you didn't hear that yet, then look it up. The message of victory, or should I say the winning message to the Democrats and to humanity. Eddie Marcus. Thank you so very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful, God-blessed day. Bye-bye.